Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Nicholas Coriano here with another Think Tank Mastermind with my very special guest, Ruan Marinho. How do we say the last name, Ruan?
You got it right. It's Ruan Marinho.
Marinho. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about what Ruan does. It's he is the CEO and I think a co-founder in the Velomark. Founder in Develomark, an agency out of Connecticut that does website design, social media management, search engine optimization, tactical marketing, and that is exactly why we brought him on today. I don't know how we met, Ruan. I think we met through, I don't know if it was Phil Hall that introduced us, or
I think I followed you on Instagram after I saw you on the Mac Talks.
That's right. I followed you on the Mac Talks, I think. I followed you on the Mac Talks, that's right. And yeah, I've followed what you've been doing. Hell of a YouTube following, hell of a commitment to the process. I stopped by your office a few years ago. Hell of an operation for, I hate to call you a young man because that would almost make me an old man. So I'm going to be cautious about doing that. But I mean, a hell of an organization you built. I've seen the new space that you guys are building out and growing into at the Velomark. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the Velomark, where it started, and how far you've come with it so far?
Yeah, first of all, Nick, obviously, thank you for having me on. I always like to talk about tactics and marketing in my business when I can, if it's going to help other people. I don't sell anything, so this is all just honest information from what I've learned in the trenches. So Develomark is a website that it offers website and SEO services to local small service-based businesses. We don't do any e-commerce, we don't do any online stores, we don't do anything with a transaction. We do all service-based businesses. And we've been in business for about 4 years now, 3.5 years now. And we're up to about 150 clients on a monthly basis. And we basically manage their site, run their ads, get them leads and report it to them and focus on business growth for them. And it's been working very well. And so we're very thankful for what we have, because it was like almost the perfect business to have when COVID happened.
Yeah.
Our entire staff, which is 16 now, is all working from home. So everybody's on Zoom, everybody's on Slack, everybody's on Skype. They're kind of just, communicating. And we're going to go back into the office very soon, because I definitely don't want to just waste the big rent that I'm paying in that space now. But I feel very blessed for my business model. It's a very common business model. A lot of people do it, but we do it a little bit differently. And we could talk more about that later on in the show. But that's a little bit about me. I'm from Brazil, so I'm actually Brazilian. That's where my name comes from, Ruan Marinho. I may not look it because I'm pale, but I am Brazilian. I am Latino. So I came here when I was 4 years old, watched my dad get pushed around his whole life in business, which, made me the person that I am now. I don't let anybody push us around in Develomark, and learned a lot from my parents not speaking the English, trying to run business here in the United States. So I took that, that made me who I am today. And that's the business person that I am.
So when did you realize you were an entrepreneur early on? Did you have a lot of jobs yourself or were you always an entrepreneur?
So I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur the moment I got my first job, and I realized how easy it was to be better than other people. And I swear to God, I don't mean like I'm not better than anybody, but I remember my first job, even though it was Subway, I was still like, everybody wanted their sandwich from me. And I would look at kind of like the competition, the other employees, and I would be like, you guys are just like, you're slow, like you don't treat the customer well, you're unethical, you're stealing from the boss, all of that stuff. And I was just like, I wonder if this is just this job. So my next job, I go to another company, and it was a little more competitive. It was Verizon Wireless. And that kind of gave me the salesperson that I am today. They gave me excellent training. They taught me how to do solution selling, where you talk and try to find problems and then pitch a solution that Verizon has. And so that kind of got me into the sales role. It's much more competitive. I was still number one in that company. And then I moved on to AT&T, which was very similar, solution problem-based selling, consistently top 10 on the charts. I was never number one because that was like very big. AT&T was gigantic. And so, I've always known I wanted to own a business because I liked solving people's problems. And digital marketing is the best thing to do that. Like, customers come to us and they're like, hey, here's my problem. And I get to be creative and say, hey, team, I need ideas on how to fix this solution, package it up into a proposal, take a payment, execute. So it's super exciting stuff.
So it sounds like, I think this is a common thing amongst a lot of entrepreneurs, right? You're working at a job and you're like, I think I can do better than this. I think I can do better than the next guy. This competitive kind of spirit. So you're working at AT&T. At what point do you say it's going to be a web design firm? Why not a plumbing firm? Why not, something else? Well, why the internet? Why website design?
Well, I'm certainly not a tradesman. I was never good at trades. I was never good with my hands. I've always been good at computers, though. So when I thought about what type of business that I was going to open, I thought about what can I do that small businesses will pay for that I can do by myself. And that was definitely not fix their toilet or fix their leaks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That requires a license that takes 8 years to do, and I definitely didn't have time to do that. So I quickly learned how to make a website. I quickly learned about SEO, and I did it for my dad's business. And he started getting phone calls, and I was still working my full-time job. And I was like, wow, like this works. Like I found
Yeah.
something here. If I could just do this for other businesses and they could pay me $500 a month, 1,000 a month, and I get 10 clients, I have a full-time income after tax, etc.
Right.
So I think with me, it was I really took the skill set that I was really passionate about, which was internet and technology, and I took that and kind of ran with it. And a lot of people, they want to start these flashy businesses, but really look at the passion that you already have for something and kind of go from there.
So you start this business, what year is it? 2017, 2016? When did you get?
16,
Okay, so
17,
we're
16.
17ish. Okay, so we're 3-4 years into the venture. Did you start with a partner? Did you start by yourself?
So I actually started by myself because I didn't know anybody that did this. So like
Yeah.
I would have partnered with somebody. We'll talk about partnerships because I did have a partnership recently that is no longer in effect. But I didn't know anybody that was doing this. And so what I did was I actually called a company called Zero Gravity Marketing. And I was like, hey, can I sell your products and services? And they were like, sure. And then they basically offered me to hire me. They were like, are you looking for a job? And I was like, no, I want to do this on my own. And then they were like, well, we're not going to tell you what we do. So I was, it was just very foolish. I was very, very like immature and I didn't know what was going on. So that was kind of one of my strengths, Nick, believe it or not. I didn't know anything. And because of
Yeah.
that, I explored all of these different things. I wasn't scared to be embarrassed. And I got clients because of it. And so I just learned how to post on social media and run ads on Facebook, which is anybody can learn. And then I started a business from it.
Interesting. So where fast forward to today, where's the business at? So that my listeners know who they're talking to, because sometimes you hear these people online, but I promised my viewers that I'm gonna get them to learn from people that are actually doing it. So where's your business at today?
So in terms of revenue numbers, if like revenue on a collected basis on a month-to-month basis, we're at about 77,000 a month.
Holy moly, moly. Holy
Yeah, which
moly,
is
moly.
a lot.
How old are you, Ruan?
I'm 26.
26, 4 years in business, 77,000 a month. That's a hell of an accomplishment, my man.
Sometimes I don't see it that way because I'm just like so kicking myself and I want to do more. But I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think I'm very grateful for it.
That's
Uh,
awesome. So I want to leave him there. I want to leave him with that teaser because I want to move on to, and you said something right before we got on this Zoom, which I thought was interesting. You said people are tired of the mindset. They want the tactics. They want the tactics. And I agree. I tend to agree, right? I think that, in a certain vein, there's a lot of us that have studied mindset. We got it. We got that, right? We're like, we understand that if you believe it and you reaffirm and you keep pushing, you're going to get your goals. But what are the tactics, right? What are some of the ways that, you can take your business to the next level? So I know that I want to start with a couple of subjects on really the key term, tactical marketing, right? But one of the first things I remember seeing about you was your YouTube following. Like I remember thinking to myself, I was pounding away videos on YouTube, and then I stumbled upon you, and I was like, oh my God, I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, what is this dude doing? Like he's from Connecticut. And that's when I knew I had to come see you. After that, I was like, I have to come see this kid and see what the hell he's doing, what's going on. So where are you at with your YouTube? Do you still have a decent subscriber base? And what got you there if you do?
So YouTube is a funny game. It's made a complete difference in my business. We get a lot of sales and leads from YouTube, which is nice. But right now we're at about 110,000 subscribers in the SEO
Ooh.
space. Yeah, so I mean, if you search SEO on YouTube, you'll probably see one of my videos somewhere. And really, my goal with that was to just teach people what I know and share it with my friends that were asking me questions about what I was doing. And so I had a friend, his name was Kevin, which we grew up with together on Xbox Live. I actually met him on Xbox Live.
That's
And
crazy.
now we're really good friends. But what happened is we basically, he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to record it and show it to you." And I recorded a video that was like how to create a Facebook ad, and I
Yeah.
shared it with him. And the video has 1 million and something views now, and we got a lot of leads from that. People want to know how to do Facebook ads. So after I uploaded that first video, I started uploading more how to set up a website, how to set up a landing page, how to run SEO, how to run Google Ads. And I just basically started pounding YouTube for like a year or two. And eventually I just got so much engagement of people searching, because this is a hot topic right now, right? People want to
Yeah.
know how to market their businesses, but people don't give it away for free. They charge for it. And
Yeah.
so with YouTube, my goal was to build an agency, which is Develomark, not charge for the information. If they want to learn more, they can call us. And it worked out very well in our favor because we got a lot of trust from people, because at the end we weren't like, "Hey, go buy this course." We were just,
Yeah.
"Hey, if you need more information, call Develomark." And that's how I was able to scale our business to where we are today, which, like I said, was 77K and right around 16 employees full time.
That's crazy. So that's interesting, because that's something that I've definitely seen work for me. I'm nowhere near the subscriber base you are, but I've already seen traction on YouTube, right? I've seen this kind of crazy traction where I'm giving them all the juice, right? I'm telling you how to write the business plan. I'm telling you how to put together the pitch deck. And if you happen to want to hire me, that's cool. If not, I gave you the free juice. And it seems to work well. How long did it take you to get traction? When did you start YouTube? When did you start your YouTube channel?
So my first video that I uploaded, which was how to create a Facebook ad, I'm just searching it right now. I'll probably find it up on the first page. My first video, wow, there's so many new videos that mine's buried. Mine was created in 2000 and 3 years ago. So that would be
Wow.
2017, and the video now has 1.6 million views.
Oh,
So
wow.
total though, my channel has what is it, like, I think it's like 200 uploads. So I've uploaded 200 videos to YouTube. Now you get
Okay.
better every time you upload, which is really nice about YouTube. So like, your first videos are always going to suck and you're not going to get a good gist of it. But once you start uploading more consistently, you start to figure out kind of the algorithm and what people want to listen to and what they don't want to listen to. The issue with YouTube is you have to be very consistent. And because my business is very demanding right now with the employees that I have and the training and all of that other stuff, it's very hard for me to be consistent right now. But I want to get back onto it because there is a massive amount of value from doing YouTube.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So what are kind of when you look at YouTube, I mean, it sounds like, for people listening, it's like, oh, I just put up a video and it got 1 million hits. Was it more tactical, less tactical than that? Was there something in the background that you saw that kind of helped you get to the 1 million hits? Was it timing? Was it keywords? What was it?
So I think it's a mix of most things, but I think the most important mix of all was that I genuinely wanted to help the viewer. And I see that in the comments section. And there's been videos where I try to just go for keywords and I kind of just try to go for promotional material and it doesn't do well. But when you genuinely want to help the user and you genuinely want to show them what you know and how to help them, and the reason why that video did so well was because of user engagement signals. So people replaying the video, people going to certain points of the video, people sharing the video. And because the video was so thorough, people were playing with like the timeline, they were sharing, they were downloading, they were, they were adding to watch later, they were adding it to playlists. All of those things have a big factor in if you're going to get into what's called the creator suggested field, which is, hey, Nick, you might like this video because you watched this video and you
Yeah.
need to be in that creator suggested. So now it's a little more about keyword phrases because there's a lot of people searching now. And so like recently I made a video called 9 ways to lower your bounce rate on Google. And it did pretty well. It's at 4,000 views right now. And I posted that 2 months ago. But I think in terms of like what's the best strategy, it's ultimately just making sure you're creating something that people will find value in and making sure you're honest. Because if I made a video and I was like, hey, my name is Ruan, I'm going to teach you how to do Facebook ads, but first you need to buy this course. And
Yeah.
then, that's not working anymore. And there's actually channels dedicated to calling people that do that out. And it's definitely, when I started, it wasn't like that. People weren't giving out information. So I think that's what made my channel different.
That's interesting. That's very interesting because again, just trying to compare the metrics here. The video that I have that does the best is kind of the same premise, right? It gives away a super amount of info about something I know a lot about. and it seems to relate to people in the comment section. They're like, "Oh, thanks for sharing that. I really like the way you explained it. I really like the way you teached it, right? I really like." And I guess it got in that suggested box that you're talking about, right? Because of some kind of an algorithm.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of traffic comes from YouTube, because YouTube wants to recommend videos for people to stay on the platform. And if your video has good engagement signals, they'll recommend your video. But if people join on your video and they're leaving right away, similar to a website in SEO, you're not going to rank higher.
It's just like a bounce rate on a website.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
So one of the things that was really interesting to me about you was when I looked you up, when I did look up your videos, and I did look up your company, you discussed a lot about SEO, search engine optimization, which is one of the ways I found my way onto the internet at the beginning. And I've told this story a few times. I started with a blog online when I was in law school, taking my notes, and all of a sudden it started getting traction on some keywords, and I reverse engineered those keywords to build businesses off of, and it's kind of how I got my start. And I'm very, very interested in search engine optimization. I believe it's going to be in the future, in the near future, I believe it's going to be one of those things that is going to be more and more important, right? When everything gets lost, more URLs get pumped into the ether. I think being able to be found is going to be super important for most businesses. So how do you help clients, and what are the top tips for search engine optimization? There's so many, right? But what are the top things you tell clients to be thinking about when they're coming through your door? So they're a service business, let's call them a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist, and they want to rank on page 1 for Tallahassee, dentist, or, Dallas doctor. What are you telling these clients to do? What's your number 1, number 2, number 3 tips?
So I'll talk a little bit about a few things. So I started with ads, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be this advertising guy. And then I realized I didn't want ad clients. I wanted SEO clients. And now it's morphed into I want website clients. And the reason for that is, I mean, if you get the website, you can get the SEO, the ads, and everything,
Exactly.
right? Because the website is the foundation, right?
Yeah.
We just saw a situation in the news where, several conservative applications were being blacklisted from their platforms. The website is the only real thing that the business can control. And so we're gonna focus on that.
Yeah.
Go on Yelp, they control what's said about your business. If you go on Facebook, they control. If you go on Google, they control. When somebody goes to your website, you control what that customer perceives about your business. So the biggest tip that I have in terms of SEO, and if you nail this tip just once, you're gonna have the best SEO campaign. And it's expensive to do for clients, and so many times they don't want this option. But because there's so many URLs in the ether, like you just said, you've got to think about Google's robot and how it's determining what shows up higher than whatever else, right? So it's going, okay, nicholascoriano.com, ruanmarino.com, right? If they both have the same amount of optimization, how does Google determine where it's going to be up and higher and what else, right? So for a lawyer, let's say, if they were a DUI lawyer or if they were a car accident lawyer, the site that's going to rank higher, there's several factors. There's backlinks, there's all this boring stuff that I don't really want to talk about. But the number one thing is usability. And which site is getting used more? Which one is getting the user to stay on the site more? And this is why when we make these websites, we often build things like calculators. We often build things like qualification forms on the site. We often build things like widgets on the site that's going to make their site different compared to their competitor. Because if both lawyers say Tallahassee car accident attorney, okay, how does Google know which one to rank higher? Immediately Google's going to go, let's go with the one with more backlinks. But if one has a calculator that says instantly calculate your car accident claim, and people are using it, even if this one has more backlinks, this one's the one Google wants to show more because people are staying on that site longer.
Exactly.
Because guess what? You can manipulate backlinks. You cannot manipulate real aged Google profiles engaging with your site. Google wants people to trust their platform. And so if you can make your site something that's going to work well, you've probably seen mortgage calculators, you've probably seen interest rate calculators, you've seen those tools that NerdWallet uses. You can take that to the local level and say, look, calculate your dental implant financing today. Calculate this, calculate that, and building these little widgets and little software tools on the client's site is going to give them the competitive edge in terms of SEO. And so there's a lot of examples that we can talk about. I mean,
that's interesting. So hold on, I'm gonna ask you a question here. So I had this conversation with my team the other day, and it's something that we decided to move forward on with the team my development team in India, which is we have all these business plan sites, right? And we have the business planning guru and floridabusinessplanwriter.com and all these sites. And one of the things that we discussed was, hey, can we put the balance sheet widget on the website? Can we put the cash flow widget? Can we put the startup proceeds section on the website so people can fill out those numbers and then it spits out the pie graph so they can start building their business plan on the site? And I kind of hypothesize, and you tell me if I'm thinking along the right track here, but I hypothesize that because they're going to stay on there longer, they might bookmark the site because now it's not just informational, it's actually usable. And they might actually start sharing the site that it would actually rank higher. So that's almost what you're talking about, right?
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And if you can create the site to be something different that they'll want to share, Google's going to rank you immediately. And guess what? When somebody types in business planning tool online, they're going to link to your site because you're the one with the tool. So investing in software, investing in the actual development of cool features on your site is what's going to get you to go. Recently, we're doing a bankruptcy one for a client that says, how do you qualify for bankruptcy? Fill out this information. Here's your estimated restitution, and it's instant. And because of that, we're going to use it as a link building strategy to get other sites to link to us because we have this cool tool.
That's very interesting. I've watched a lot of videos on SEO, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone mention that the way you said that, right? Which is build a tool that actually has the consumer want to stay on the site, and that will increase search. And I always tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I kind of view SEO, because I started the website I built was in 2000 and 2009, I graduated 2012 is the first website I built. First website I ranked #1 for my keyword, right? That we had different sites, different keywords, but that was the first one. And since then, there's a bunch of algorithms that have changed. Google's changed certain things, like you said, backlinks and on-page SEO, off-page SEO. And I've always come back down to this way of thinking on SEO, which is if Google was a human, they're gonna ask very human questions, right? So all these kind of metrics that we have, I always kind of have this catch-all question: is it good for the viewer? Like, does it answer the viewer's question? Does it give the viewer exactly what it needs? And if we do that in a non-spammy way, in a way that the consumer appreciates, eventually the algorithm's going to catch up to us, even if it doesn't catch up to us today. Is that fair?
That's extremely fair. Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it, because people do SEO tactics that are not going to play well in the future. And just by thinking about the user and what the user wants to use, I mean, look, if you're searching interest rates, right? What do you think that person wants to do? They want to put in whatever they're purchasing and see what the interest payments are going to be. They don't want to see what is an interest rate. Maybe they do, right? What is an interest rate? How does it work? This says SEO. No, they want to see whatever it is that they're looking to accomplish. And so user data tells us if you're searching for car accident attorney, you may have been in an accident and you may want to know what your settlement's worth. You may want to know that just by the sheer chance of that phrase. And we call this user intent. And so there is definitely something about focusing on the user and making sure. And a lot of websites are manipulative, and Google's cracking down on this. So like they'll say price starting at lowest price possible when it's just completely deceiving. And Google Ads has cracked down on this and says, look, we're not going to run your ads because customers need to fully transparently know your pricing. It can't be manipulated. And it's easy to get leads when it says price starting at $15, right? It's easy to do that. But when it comes out to $1,000, the customer's like, but I went on your website and this and this. And so, I mean, it comes down to what you said, transparency and just making sure that whatever it is that you're doing will actually help the user.
So you talk about, you've talked about a couple times here about Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And you said that your business is mainly for services. So, for all our other service businesses out there, why Instagram ads? Why Facebook ads? Are they really pertinent? Nicky Nice tells me that he's tried Instagram ads and they don't work. And I tried Facebook ads and they're not converting like Google ads. And they're not converting like my Craigslist. And they're not converting like somebody coming off of YouTube. What am I doing wrong? Should I give up? Do I need a bigger budget? what the hell is up with these ads? What's up with these ads?
So this is for your business planning business?
Yeah, for all my business. So you know, my best ROI I've seen is directly on, you know, a Craigslist or a Google AdWords. So Google AdWords is pretty simple and straightforward, right? They're typing in business plan writer or SBA business plan writer, and they land on a page that says, I'm an SBA business plan writer, right? Or I have a microcap investor relations business where we handle marketing for public companies, and they want investor relations for microcap companies, right? And they type that in on Google. Now, on Facebook, I don't get the traction, right? So I'm targeting what I think is my demographic. But what are some tips that you've seen or some amateur mistakes? Because I'm definitely amateur in the sense of running Facebook ads, right? And Instagram ads. So what are the amateur mistakes you feel like? And by the way, full disclaimer, right? I've done this really well for a geographic retail operation. So specifically, there's a pizza restaurant, right? In Shelton, Connecticut. Put the ads up. We didn't run more than, you know, $400 in ads, and the business, it was like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars more a week that they were making, right? So geographically, I felt like that was easy on Facebook and Instagram. But when you're talking about a services company that, right, to like DevelopMark, right, where, you know, you have, the world is our oyster. You got a ton of people that can, you know, be a potential customer, but on social, how do we target that when they're not searching on social?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I think the most important thing there is just your strategy. Because if you put up a banner ad and you just, you know, target your customer avatar and it just kind of shows them who you are, what you do, etc., now you're kind of falling into brand awareness. So if you're interested in cash flow, which is getting a customer in the door within like the first 15 days they've seen you, which is what we're interested in right now because we're in that growth phase. We're not in brand awareness yet. You know what I mean? If you have money and you're one of these large law firms and you just
explain that for the people that, because you know, you talk about brand awareness and then you talk about cash flow. Explain what you mean.
Sure. So if you go to Times Square, you may see a gigantic billboard for Coca-Cola, and they're not asking you to do anything. It's just Coca-Cola. Like, they don't care. They don't want you to buy Coke there. They're not selling Coca-Cola at Times Square. But the fact that you've seen it at Times Square makes you think about Coca-Cola next time you make a purchase of a drink. That's brand awareness. Now, direct response is you're searching on Google Coca-Cola, or you're searching soda and you're ready to buy something from Instacart. That's direct and response. And if they're showing up, that's direct response. Both are really good. Brand awareness is good for several reasons, but direct response is where the money is, because somebody's searching business planning, they're ready to make a move, they're ready to talk, they're ready to get a consultation, and now you have a new lead.
So can you do direct response on social, I guess is the question.
You can. You definitely can. And that's where lead magnets come into play, which is, hey, this tool is on my website. Check out a business plan made for you within 15 minutes. If you like what you see, schedule a consult with us. You have to have something that gets that person to leave Facebook. Would I recommend Facebook as a use for your type of business, for your business planning? Probably not, unless you have a really good strategy on getting the community to use and look at your services. Now, for your real estate, looking for tenants, selling property, looking to buy property, Facebook's the gold mine. Craigslist is the gold mine. Those are real big there. But for, you know, hire us for SEO, book this law firm, book this dentist, Facebook's not that great. It's not great.
Because that's interesting. So you're kind of doubling down on something that I feel like I've learned, which is for that geographic-based business, like the apartments, right? It's a geographic-based business. I know I can target people within a 10-mile radius somewhere on Facebook. They're on there all the time anyway. They can share it, you know, they can share the ad at any time. And I feel like that's, for that purpose, it seems like to be the best platform to be able to target people geographically.
And you know why? You start to fall into what's called association. And people are like, I know where that is, you know, and they're like, oh, that's that pizza shop right there. I've seen them before. And so now you have brand awareness working for you. And so somebody that drives by a pizza restaurant 35,000 times in their life, if they live in Shelton, and now they start seeing ads for that pizza restaurant, they already have so much brand awareness, because that's why it's going to work. A law firm advertising to someone in Westport and they're in Massachusetts is like, okay,
and just money away.
Know, that's far, you know, they've never heard of this law firm. There's millions of other law firms. So location, like, I don't know if you saw Sugar Rush USA, which is a client that we're helping right now. We're getting them on the news. We're doing all this crazy stuff for them. They're local. They're in Shelton, Connecticut, and people know where they are. They're like, I drive by there every day. I want to go try it. And so they associate that. Now, there's also something called brand association in other ways. If Nicholas Coriano Business Planning Services is in Times Square, right? People are like, that's an expensive ad. He must be good at business planning.
Yeah.
And so there is such thing as brand association. Now on Facebook, brand association can kill your brand. Oh, okay, yeah, this guy's on Facebook. Great. Anybody can run a Facebook ad. Not everybody can run a Super Bowl ad. And so your brand becomes more premium where it shows up over time. And so with Facebook, you really have this association of it's just social media. There's thousands of ads, but local works very well on Facebook, stores, retail, food, like you said, where you need to focus on brand association, influencers, podcasts, these different types of media outlets where you're promoting to people that need business planning, events and conferences. That's where you're going to make the most money. Facebook is just good for brand awareness if you have the extra cash to spend for service based.
Interesting. So that's kind of what I saw there. So help the 38-year-old out and above, right? That don't have enough energy and feel like they're a little spread out. There's a ton of social media sites out there. I mean, it just doesn't stop. It seems like, just last week I got an invite to Clubhouse, or a couple of weeks ago I got an invite to Clubhouse. I'm like, well, what the hell is this? I got to learn. I still haven't learned TikTok. Like I still haven't learned, the last one. Do you consult clients, that want to be on all the platforms? You have clients that come in and say, I want to be on all of them. I need to be on all of them. And should you be on all of them in some cases? What cases are those? Or should you be more selective when you're on these social media platforms?
So that's a good question. And I think that ultimately matters on where the business is and how mature it is. Like there's the maturity steps of business and the myth and stuff like that. There's a really cool tool called Taboola, which will allow you to basically set a budget and it will advertise everywhere for you, like every platform, and it'll spend your budgets accordingly on those platforms. And it's a very reasonable tool. So that's called programmatic advertising, where you're actually advertising everywhere. And so that works for brands that are called in the mature phase. These are brands that don't necessarily aren't dying to pay payroll. Like they have
exactly. They're more established. They're not in a high growth phase.
They're ready to just spend it for tax write-offs. Whereas businesses like myself, which were under the $1 million mark, barely touching it though. We're in like, let's get cash flow. We need to market where it works. I need revenue coming in. I need return on investment, and I need to clearly see where that is. Whereas a business like Coca-Cola is just like, we need to be everywhere. It doesn't matter where it is. We just need to spend the money. We don't even care what the ROI is. We just want people to see us. So using a tool like Taboola is really nice because you can create a campaign. They'll give you all the sizes that you need. You can click on all the platforms you need to click on, and you can set a budget, and it'll kind of just programmatically display it everywhere. And so I would say that if you're a newer business, you should focus on cash flow, direct response marketing, postcards, networking meetings, business to business events, Google ads, website, SEO. That's direct response. Where if you're a more mature business and in growing, you should focus on programmatic.
So, that's a great platform. I'm going to go back and check out. I remember when I started and I learned about Hootsuite. Right. And you learn about Hootsuite and you're going, oh my God, this is the future. Like you thought, it was going to take you a year to do it. And all of a sudden your work got cut down to 1/10 because of this aggregator. And for those who don't know what that is, it's just an aggregator that allows you to spit out content on several platforms, several social media platforms. But those tools, can change an entrepreneur's life. What tools have you seen or have you used in the last 2 or 3, since you started? What 2 or 3 tools have you felt like, wow, this is a game changer? Like I know for me, as small as it was, Hootsuite was a game changer. I was like, whoa, man, this is crazy. Like I can really, and everybody I've showed it to since has been like, oh my God, they didn't know, So do you have some tools over there that you've used in the last couple of years that you feel like are game changers for entrepreneurs and business owners?
I would say probably my favorite tool of all time is called Duda, D-U-D-A.
Okay, what does that do?
I know nobody's heard of that. It's a website builder, and it's what we build all of our websites on. And so obviously we're a little more advanced than the average user because we have an enterprise agreement with them. But it's a drag and drop builder. It's very similar to WordPress. It's a lot easier to use than WordPress. I hate WordPress. I can't stand WordPress.
Harsh words for. They're gonna get a lot of hate comments, man. I love WordPress. Why are you?
WordPress is like, once you go Duda, you never go back.
Okay. We have a spokesperson here for Duda. I have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what takes a WordPress agency to do, we'll do it in like 2 days, and the client would just be like, I'm never working with that agency ever again.
Wow.
And it's because Duda uses several things that it just requires more development on WordPress, and it's just like straight to the point, service-based businesses, local websites, very simple.
Okay.
So
Duda, that's number one. What other?
That's number one. If you're looking for a simple website builder, and it's very affordable too, and it comes with hosting, and it's very fast.
Okay.
I would probably say my next favorite tool, like, give me like a reason to use the tool, like project management or ads or something along those lines, because
let's go with SEO, and then we'll go to project management. We'll go to project management after, but let's go SEO.
Okay, so one of my favorite tools, which we've actually developed, and it's completely free, so there's no sales pitch. It's called Search Trends, and it basically allows you to install a Chrome plugin on your computer, and I'll share it with you in the chat so you can check it out. We developed it. It's free. It has thousands of users. And basically what it allows you to do is when you search a keyword on Google, it tells you how many searches that keyword gets, other keywords like it, and what part of the US people search that phrase the most in the timeline. So it's a really nice tool to use, because as our SEOs are doing keyword research, this tool gives you all this data for free, whereas most sites will make you pay for it. And because we're not a software company, we don't charge for this type of stuff. It's just like, hey, we use it, we'll make it public. But it's a really nice tool, because when you do your product research, when you do your market research, you can really, really, really accurately get information on where people are searching stuff. And it's really usable. It's really nice. It's very usable, and it works very well. That's probably my second tool that I like using the most. That's really easy and simple to do in terms of SEO. And there's so many SEO tools out there. I mean, for more advanced stuff, we use something called SEMrush, which you've probably heard of.
Yep.
And SEMrush for reporting reasons. When we send reports to clients, it's the best tool that we found. Granted, we have a tool coming out for reporting very shortly that's going to kill the game. But it's probably the most developed tool at this time right now. But yeah, check out Search Trends, check out Duda. And Search Trends is free. Duda is like $12 a month per site, so it's really affordable. But they all get the job done really, really nicely. Now, in terms of project management, nothing beats Basecamp. Basecamp is by far the best tool for project management if you're working with clients and you need to upload files, you need to do that type of stuff. And then for chat, our company uses Slack. So obviously, you know Slack, right?
Yep.
It got bought by Salesforce. So we use Slack for so much, and we're integrating so many things in and out of Slack that it makes our lives easier.
So that's great. I'm gonna have to check all of those out. I'm looking at this list here. Where do you see, what do you think was the biggest effect of COVID in 2021? So now I want to fast forward to kind of where we are today. COVID was February 15, 2021. COVID is kind of tail ending, right? Out of the picture, hopefully. What do you see is the best, where do you see the economy going? And I've asked this question to everybody that's been on the show. I'm a firm believer that I don't think COVID's going anywhere. I think that a new norm is forming. I've said this before. I don't think we're going to be able to look back and be like, it ended on March 1st. I think we're going to look back and be like, well, it kind of just tickered away, and social distancing kind of stayed around, and tables got a little bit further at restaurants, and people wore masks in airplanes, just because, and it kind of just trickled away. But where do you see COVID? How do you see COVID affecting specifically service-based businesses? Because you're in that field. Have you seen the rush to online? Have you seen something that you think is not going to leave later on? And what is that?
I'll tell you what did not grow in popularity that everybody thought was going to grow in popularity, which is telehealth and video conferencing consultations. Like, that has not grown in popularity, surprisingly. People still want to get on the phone. They still want to meet in person. Yeah. And it's interesting because for me, like we recently talked to an IP attorney, a trademark attorney, because we were going through some stuff that we needed to handle. I wanted to meet the guy in person. I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to do tele. I just want to meet in person. It's very private information. And look, we can't trust any of this stuff. You can't trust Zoom. You can't trust any
Gonna
of these.
cut us off right now. As soon
Yeah,
as they're gonna hear us.
it's just the truth. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's the
can't trust
truth.
any of this stuff. And
Yeah.
so nothing beats face to face, and we're still seeing that with our clients. And guess what? Service based businesses, well, you can't fix a leak in your home with, oh, hey, leak's gone. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Technician gets the house. They need to be sanitized. They need to be socially distancing. That's the beauty of this industry right now. Service-based businesses still have to go into the customer's house. It's what's it called? It's a needed business.
Yeah, essential business.
Essential business. And so COVID didn't impact us at all, which was awesome because we had all essential businesses. And so people still need the doctors. People still need the home service-based businesses. All of my agency friends that were like restaurants, all ate shit. So it's tough. I mean, it is tough, but at the end of the day, home services will never go away. As my good friend Roger likes to say, everybody has to go to the bathroom. And so eventually there's just things happen, problems happen in the home. And because people were home with more stimulus money, they were going, I don't like my bathroom. And now's the time to do it. And so let me tell you the industries that are going to boom. All right. Appliances are going to boom. Why? People are cooking from home now. That's a fact. They are. They're cooking from home. They're using HelloFresh. They're using Instacart. They're using those different types of things. Talking about service-based businesses. Appliances are going to go through the roof. Okay. Home renovations, as you probably know as well, through the roof.
Yeah, that's further evidenced by Lowe's stock and Home Depot stock and their financials, which are showing record numbers of sales and improvements in homes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at something that I have right now, and one of our clients just got a website chat, and she wants a quote to renovate her bathroom. People are thinking about this stuff right now, okay?
Yeah.
Lawyers, big time right now. A lot of people getting divorced, a lot of people selling and buying property, a lot of people being injured from work, a lot of people getting COVID at work, right? All of these service-based businesses are the future because they're never going to go away. And so the industries that are volatile, right? Software, SaaS, this, I would love to do work for those types of clients. But at the end of the day, I'm getting really clear on, hey, we can help HVAC technicians with, a good company grow, and it's predictable and it's sustainable. So our revenue was like this. And then COVID happened, it barely dropped and it went back up again. So it was one of those things that we were blessed for. One of my friends had a lot of restaurants and he really felt it. And I felt bad. And hopefully that gave him the signal to, hey, it's because the restaurants don't want to hear your advice. Oh, I don't want to do DoorDash. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. We're good. Word of mouth. Those are not type of clients we want to work with.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a lot of clients restaurant clients, that I was just begging them 2-3 years ago, like, got to be on Uber Eats. You got to be on DoorDash. And they didn't want to hear it. And then COVID forced, same thing. I had fitness instructors that I'm like, you need an online video. You need an online presence. You need to be doing classes online. And they literally couldn't even visualize it a year ago. They were just like, who the hell wants to do push-ups online? Now you're on Facebook and half your friends are over there doing jumping jacks online, and I'm going, I think there are some things that are, do you see any fields that are going to be more remote than they were?
I mean, I think anything that can be remote will be more remote. Lawyers definitely will be a little more remote because you can do these video consultations.
Yeah.
Home services will never be remote. It's impossible. Anything where like telehealth, we thought telehealth was going to be like this new crazy popular thing. We implemented on a client's site and it has like a 7% interaction rate from patients. And it's actually this client, this is the organization, like this is a big hospital. So, people still want to just go see their provider, man. It's like, it's super basic stuff, but telehealth stocks are going up because there's so much hype around them. So, and as Zoom was like Wall Street baby when this was happening. Oh my God.
Wow, Lord. That thing, the stock went through the roof, man. It was like
crazy.
Like we were never going to see each other again. And we were only going to ever communicate through Zoom the way it was going up. What's your sense of kind of, the health of your clients and just a general economy question? Because I'm curious, I look at again, February 15th, just, for those that are hearing this later in the future, February 15, 2021, the real estate market is hot, super hot. The stock market just doesn't stop climbing. Bitcoin, I keep getting alerts, and every other day it's like Bitcoin hits a new high. Bitcoin hit a new high. I have stocks that I made 100% on this year that I sold out, that I need to take off of my Yahoo Finance app because it keeps sending me the alert that it hit a new high and it hit a new high, and I'm tired of looking at it, right? So, what do you see your clients? Are you seeing, obviously the restaurant clients, your gym clients, your movie theaters, those guys got hit super hard. Are you seeing something different in the clients that they're, are they telling you something that we're missing?
I mean, I like most clients didn't even take a hit last year. We actually had clients that were up last year because of, like I said, they have more money to spend. I think a popular trend that we're going to see is businesses accepting Bitcoin and businesses accepting cryptocurrency. Because if you think about it this way, if you paid me $3,500 worth of Bitcoin, I would have more money today than I did when you paid me. And so that's really attractive for a business because every payment that you get is growing in cash value. And so when that starts happening, which it is, Elon Musk just said Tesla's, you're going to be able to order with Bitcoin. When that starts happening, well, guess what? Bitcoin's price is going to continue to go up. There's so many retailers right now that don't accept cryptocurrency. And once they do, well, it's going to go up. And so we've thought about accepting Bitcoin. Some small businesses we talk to have thought about it. And so right now, I think it's about just getting creative with the world and the circumstances. Like Henry Ford said, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. And the truth, because we were dealt such a bad hand last year, and most businesses that folded, that stopped advertising, that stopped marketing, aren't doing well. The ones that continued and kind of just didn't let this affect them are doing very well. So we ask, just so you know, Nick, we ask clients, every single client, how was your year? What was your growth like, et cetera? We kind of check in with their business so we can report on our end. And I would say probably 70% saw either flat or growth. And then 30% saw 10, 15% decrease.
Yeah, I'm getting the same vibe with my clients and just internally, that the same exact thing, right? And the 30% usually that got hit were in a sector that got hit. It wasn't necessarily their business. It was a restaurant or a gym or something where, it was mandated to close. It was very interesting, two sides of that. From an investment standpoint, I wrote a list of everything that was mandated to close on March 1st. As soon as they started closing everything, I had a list on the wall and I wanted to buy everything. I was trying to buy everything that was mandated to close. I was trying to buy it because I knew it was going to be completely undervalued. But it's interesting to see how some of these things are not coming back, how some of these things are coming back a little bit slower.
I'm sure, everybody was looking at cruise ships and I will never go on a cruise, I don't think.
Yeah, I made a lot of money off of the cruise ship drop, so I have no complaints there. I made a really good, I bet on the stock market going down, and then I bet back again when it was going back up. So I double dipped in that. It was a good time. It was a good time for me. I love a volatile market when it comes to investing, because as long as it's going up or down, you can make money.
Definitely.
What do you call it? In the next year, where do you see, what are some of the kind of the key things that you're seeing for, Internet of Things and marketing and searchability, for the next 5 years? What are you seeing? Are some of the things that I know that I'm seeing that are exciting in my business as far as consulting? I'm, dealing now with a new 3D printing client, very futuristic. I was having a discussion with another entrepreneur about voice search and what that can potentially do for the marketplace. Are you seeing any trends or any new technologies that we should be aware of as entrepreneurs, just looking into the next 5 years?
So there's a few things right now, like AI writing, that's a thing where a robot will literally write an article for you and it'll be just as good as a human being. Wow. That's going to be something that's very popular, which is going to wipe out a lot of jobs. And then there's also AI voice connection. So AI robots answering and making phone calls for companies. That's something they're desperately trying to figure out right now. Google successfully released one, and it was a lady picking up a phone call for a hair salon and booked that person, and that person didn't even know it was a robot.
Wow.
And it's pretty easy to do, right? I mean, you program AI and you give it every single scenario that could possibly happen. And now you're eliminating call centers. And if
Yeah.
the drop does happen, okay, connect it to a real person. And so, the robot's smart enough to say, I don't have the answer for you right now. Let me connect you to my manager, connect it to a real person, handle it from there. The businesses
Huh.
that figure that out are going to make billions of dollars. Why? Because companies like T-Mobile, companies like AT&T, companies like Aetna, all need that. They
Yeah,
all
yeah.
need that.
They're already utilizing it. They're just utilizing a more rudimentary version of it, right?
Right.
With these kind of prompted, press 2 for this, press 3 for that.
Imagine you called Aetna and it was a real person. And it was just like, thanks for calling Aetna. John, how can I help you today? Like, you'd be like, what the? Usually you have to press
Yeah.
all the stuff and this and this. AI is going to be able to do that. So I would check out something called Article Forge, which you can put in like keywords and it'll write an article for you.
Huh.
And you
Wow,
can
that's crazy, man. That's
so
interesting.
where is it going? Definitely going to AI. Nothing will ever beat the human being. Well, that we think.
Maybe,
Uh,
maybe.
never,
Yeah,
you never know.
yeah, we don't know, man. That's
But
interesting. Yeah, AI. And what? Any thoughts on machine learning, which is kind of the same thing, right? But very
yeah,
similar field.
yeah. I mean, we use machine learning for like it's website chats that we use. We use a chat called Virtual Spirits, and it does some of that machine learning. It'll start learning why the visitors are what the visitors are saying, and it'll kind of spit those answers back over time. Um, Google's all machine learning. So, at this point, you've just got to be open to everything and you've just got to make sure you're on the trend because if you're not, you're going to get swept away. And the companies that are going to leverage this technology are going to be more advanced than you and it's going to give them competitive advantage. I know a lot of people that are like, oh, AI, oh, machine. It's like you're going to get blown out of the water if you don't learn
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's like ignoring the internet when the internet first came out.
Yep.
Yeah. So listen, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find your business and your sites.
Develomark.com is the only place that you can find me. Obviously, you can go on YouTube and search Develomark. You'll probably find me on my YouTube channel. And then Develomark.com, I have a profile on there that has all my social media links, so you can actually just go through there and connect with me. But yeah, I try to keep it simple, Nick. I think you've noticed that. I just like one thing, like just
Yeah. I'm jealous. I can't keep. I can't keep it simple. I can't. I just can't. I flood myself with so much damn opportunity. I get lost, man. What do you call it? That's awesome.
You got good things going on at least.
Yeah, no, I got great things going on, man. I'll put your links below the YouTube video, and I'll tag you when I share it, man. I really want to thank you for reaching out and accepting my invite here for this, man. It was exactly DEVELOMARK.com. If you're listening to a podcast somewhere where some AI took this video and shoved this into 20 different podcasts, right? Check out the .com, Develomark. Both Connecticut residents, so be happy to see you guys come down if you guys ever need any website design, SEO, social media. Again, man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me, man. I really appreciate it.
No, man, thank you, Nick, and thank you for everybody watching.
Hey, man, have a good one, guys. Subscribe to the video, like the video, unlike the video. Tell us what you think in the comments section. If you have a question, I'm going to be monitoring these questions and maybe we'll do a follow-up video, but please put the question in the comments section and I'll make sure to reply to everybody and we'll get back to all the answers of any questions you guys may have. And we'll talk again soon, guys. Thanks.